And imagine Dr. Anna in the office with Derek. She lays out a mat, unravels his diaper, takes it off. If he has on a diaper, there's likely something in it. You put this man on the floor, put something under his body to help prop him up, open that diaper up, potentially see something in there, wipe him, get him clean and ready, have him lay there and have sex with him.
So sit back and relax. Meloney P
is on a very low calorie, high protein diet. Be honest. Welcome to another episode of the That's Scary with Meloney P podcast. I'm your girl, Meloney P, and we are here to have a conversation. Listen, today we are talking about the Netflix documentary, Tell Them You Love Me. And I'm gonna let y'all know off gate, I think that my opinions are going to be not in the majority. And I'm really interested to see in the comments if I'm not alone out here. All right. So Netflix dropped a documentary, I want to say last week or the week before last, Tell Them You Love Me. And this is about Dr. Anna Stubblefield, a former Rutgers University ethics professor. And then this is also about a black man named Derek, also D-Man, also the man, who has cerebral palsy. And I'm not going to really go into like the overview of what the documentary was. I feel like, most people have seen it. If you haven't seen it, please go to Netflix and watch it. But I feel like my opinions are not in the majority, okay? Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you order your Nama products. Get your $5 off. Let's get it popping, y'all. Actually, I just put in another order for the Elevate. So I always talk about the Euphoria Nama products, but I put in an order for Elevate and I'm supposed to get them Friday and I'm very excited. So make sure you click the link in the description and get your $5 off. I'm getting a lot of good feedback from people ordering and loving the Euphoria. So please try all of their products. I actually took the sleep Nama product last night and I slept amazing. So they have a lot of different products to offer. So make sure that you check them out. So if you have seen this new Netflix documentary, Tell Them You Love Me, most people have really said it's horrible, it's disgusting. I remember I kept seeing stuff about it on social media and like on my Facebook and people saying, oh my God, this documentary is so horrible, it's so disgusting. Like people are so evil, people are so vicious. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't think I want to see this. So I braced myself. I took some time, I prepared myself, and I began to watch it. And I'm watching it, and I'm watching it, and I'm watching it. And I am not seeing, I did not have the same response that I think most people had. My response was this. Two things are right. Two things can be true at the same time. And I think there's a lot of truths. I think there's a lot of falses. I think there's a lot of maybe exaggeration and other things, but I don't know for sure if I would say that there was a R-A-P-E. I don't know if I can actually confidently say that there was a R. I'm going to tell you why. If you look at the documentary, and obviously you know that Dr. Anna, we'll call her Dr. Anna, she went to prison for unconsensual sex with Derek, who is disabled, and he has cerebral palsy. And basically, ultimately, it was because his family felt as though he could not consent to sex with Dr. Anna. Dr. Anna claims that her and Derek fell in love. Her and Derek grew into a friendship, into a romantic, into an intimate relationship. And he basically confessed his love to her with the facilitated communicator, and that he not only consented, but if you look at the documentary, he consented and almost low-key initiated the sexual act. Now, the reason why I feel conflicted and the reason why I feel that we don't truly know what happened is because during the trial that sent Anna to prison, they did not use the facilitated communicator to prove whether or not Derek, D-Man, I hate when she calls him D-Man, to be honest with you. But whether or not Demand could actually consent, whether or not, he could have conversation and flowing communication the way she alleged, they never used the facilitated communicator in the freaking trial, which is ultimately how she ended up getting out of prison, because they appealed. They realized that they did not use the facilitated communicator to prove whether or not he had the ability to consent, and she was back home. She got out of jail and they threw the case out. Now, for me, that says a lot, but there were a lot of back and forths that on one hand I felt like they are in love. He's a grown man. What is the problem with a grown man having sex if he's actually using the facilitated communicator and he actually consented, and that's between him and Dr. Anna? What's the problem? He's grown. But then there would be things that would happen that made me question that. The way that Dr. Anna said that he was communicating, in the documentary, his sentence structure, and I can't think of any examples, but it almost sounded like a extremely educated, extremely advanced, and not even extremely, but just someone who, who's actually been to high school or been to college. The word usage, the sentence structure, the saying that Derek enjoyed a red wine. There were a lot of things that, Dr. Anna was alleging that Derek was saying that really left you questioning. But then it's like, Dr. Anna in the documentary is not like us, right? We think this is disgusting and we think this is horrible because we are regular people who do not have a background in working with people and engaging with people intimately. And I don't mean sexually, but just on an intimate friendship level with disabilities. In the documentary, Dr. Anna explains how her mom was very heavy in the disability space and trying to help people with disabilities, and how she grew up her entire life being around her mom, who basically led this whole, disability movement, helping people that had disabilities, helping them, live normally as much as possible. And she talks about in the documentary about how when she was a little girl, when the facilitated communicator first came out and her mom was using it and testing it, she was the one that was recording the findings of the facilitated communicator and how great it was and how it was helpful to people who were nonverbal. She also said that, growing up, she had this very strong connection with the disabled community because she saw it growing up, and she would have her dad buy her crutches so she can, see how it feels not to be able to walk. She had a pen pal that was, had some kind of disability. She learned how to do Braille. She was very much immersed in the disabled. And listen, I don't know, don't cancel me, I don't know the right words for whatever, but she was very much in that disabled space, in that community of disabled findings people, seeing that, they're normal people inside. Maybe they just can't communicate, or maybe they just can't, maybe their hands are contorted to where they can't type regularly or without assistance, but they have brains and they have minds up here. They just have a disability. They just have disabilities that don't allow them to function 100% at capacity. And so knowing that and saying all of that, it makes me feel like Dr. Anna possibly has a very much different view of the disabled than you or I, because we don't have that background. So that makes me want to give her grace. But then there would be all these different things that would be like, okay, I'm giving you grace, girl, but this is sounding kind of crazy. Like when the mom and the son, like when Derek's mom and his brother was saying that, they were going to church, and, Dr. Anna turned off the church music and said that Derek preferred classical music, stuff like that. Now, we got to keep it a buck, because that's disrespectful, obviously, but she is a white lady. They do things a lot differently, honey. They don't look at, but I'm sure country gospel music is not something that Anna would want to hear. And we don't know maybe what new things Dr. Anna was introducing Derek to that maybe would make him change the things that he liked. And the reason why I say that is because one of the things that made me kind of side eye the situation and side eye Derek's family is the mother. And because I was very conflicted and I felt so bad, like I would be having these thoughts like this lady seemed, I don't know, she seemed like she's not as innocent as she claims to be. So I went on to YouTube and I just looked up cerebral palsy just to see like the way that she talked about Derek was like he was an infant baby and her baby. And it's just like she gave me, I don't have a life. I am in the church. My son is my life. You know, my sons are my life. He's my baby. I don't got no man. So my sons are my man. And he gonna stay a baby because that gives me purpose. That gives me something to do. And I don't want him to become a man. That's truly what I thought. I'm not gonna lie. That's what I thought. And then when I went on YouTube and I just started looking up cerebral palsy, and I know there's different variations of it, but this one thing that stood out to me was this white man. He had cerebral palsy, very much similar to what Derek had. Like he had, you know, very limited movements, nonverbal. He was married to a woman. He was working out. His family was helping him to not stay in, you know, baby mode. His family was pushing him to, you can do anything you put your mind to. You can grow up, you can get married, you can do whatever you want to do. That was the energy that I saw in that video. I'm gonna see if I can include it here or whatever. So then when I see that, and I see that just because you have cerebral palsy does not mean that you are forever a baby. Now, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you what I saw on YouTube and I'm telling you what my opinion is. I got from Derek's mom what I just said. And then I also felt like, you know, could it be a situation of Derek getting this check and we don't want this check to leave our household? Because to me, the mom continuously spoke about Derek as if he was a baby. And I don't understand why, if you have a son that is disabled, that has been told that he'll never lead a regular life, and you're seeing potential glimpses of, you know, possibly going to college, possibly finding a woman, possibly getting married, why would that make you so angry? And to me, it would make her so angry because that Derek was her life. Derek is her man. And that's all she, you know, that's all she got. And I've seen it, y'all. I have truly seen it. I have seen mothers who want to keep their sons as their husbands, as their babies, grown as men. And, you know, you gotta be careful of that. That is a very, very common thing. Women, mothers who don't have a husband, don't have a man, don't have friends, don't have a life of their own. So their children become their life. Even, and I don't even mean like teenagers or young. I mean, there are a lot of mothers out here who have sons 25, 35, 45, and they still feel like they should come first. They still feel like, you know, that's their baby, and seeing their baby function and move like a man does something to them. They are creating these potential problems for the women that these men end up with, because they're not letting go. They're not letting go. They're creating these mama's boys. And that is a dangerous, dangerous thing. It is a dangerous thing. And I really feel like that is what Derek's mom was giving. And unfortunately, I feel like a lot of times, and this is horrible, but I did think it, you know, a lot of times these women who be in the church, they're not as innocent and, you know, as they claim. I had a really big problem with the fact that, you know, his mom just seemed angry. And I guess if in her mind, her son was RAPED, then I could understand her anger. But to me, wouldn't you be like, okay, my son is growing up, but I think that they had a problem with this lady. I don't think that Anna and the mom got along, because you have Anna trying to give the man, Derek, freedom. Oh, he gonna move out. Oh, we gonna be together, whatever. Then you have the mom actually literally saying, oh, he ain't going nowhere. He's going in the basement. I have a problem with that. Like, the mom literally said in the documentary, Derek ain't going nowhere. He's going to go to the basement like his brother before he leaves anywhere. Like, something is wrong with that sentence. Something is wrong with that being, with you pushing that. Now, again, thank you, Jesus. I don't have, any children that have those type of issues. So I can't really speak from experience with that. But I have worked in, the medical field in spaces where, I had to work with people that had, certain disabilities. And to me, a independent life should be, I would think, what the goal would be as much as possible. So it was something about that mom that I just didn't like. And then also with the brother. So with Derek's brother, I feel like he meant well, but I feel like that mom, is something about that mom, because you'll hear Derek's brother say stuff like, oh, well, Dr. Anna was kind of making it seem like we're just these dumb black people, stereotypical black people who don't know, who aren't privy enough to afford certain things, or don't know about classical music, or she has to save Demand or Derek, and she has to save them. And for me, just because I have experienced men who you can hear their moms manipulating them and speaking through them. And for me, I could hear the mom in Derek's brother's voice. And by that, I mean, the mom was feeling a certain kind of way. It was causing an issue in the home. And I think the mom got her finicles. That is not a word. Got her tentacles into them sons, and Derek's brother was like, no, this is too much. And I just feel like it was the mom. I feel like it was truly the mom. Obviously they go to trial. One thing that got me as well was the statement from Dr. Anna's husband. But before we get there, let's talk about this sex, honey. Let's talk about this sex. So Dr. Anna and Derek had sex. And one of the things that really confused me and really made me question if something was wrong with Dr. Anna, like, I feel like she likely wasn't a rapist. I feel like she was likely someone that I feel like she would more so have some kind of mental issue more than I would think that she had unconsensual sex with this man. Because when you watch the documentary, she explains how they had 2 intimate moments. I think one was in Derek's house while the mom was at church. And then the other is when she took Derek into the office. She pulled out a mat. She pulled out something to prop his body up, and they had intercourse. Now, to my knowledge, I don't recall Dr. Anna in this documentary explaining how that happened. I don't know if it was a actual ejaculation thing. I don't know. But what I do know is that Derek wore a diaper. And for me, the fact, and that's why I'm saying 2 and 3 things can be true at the same time, child, because something is off with that. Like, if you close your eyes and you imagine Dr. Anna in her office, Derek nonverbal, and that's another thing. If he's nonverbal, how are you guys communicating during the act? Because with the facilitated communicator, she had to help facilitate and move his hand around to type on the keyboard. So how are you having sex with him, propping him up, he laying down, you know, he's using the facilitated communicator to communicate. Like, for me, that was where I got back to like, okay, girl, this is given delusional, because that's a lot going on. Now, again, they did not allow her to show in court their communication and actually prove it. But what they did, because I know y'all gonna be in the comments, they did have another person that's familiar, another doctor that's familiar with the facilitated communicator and how that works, do a test on Derek. And from their findings, they said that Derek had the like vocabulary, and basically he was a 12-month-old. Like he had the mental capacity of a 12-month-old, a 1-year-old, and nothing beyond that. And that was their findings. But to me, if that was your findings and you were so confident in that, why not further prove that she was losing her mind? She was a psycho, and allow the facilitated communicator to be used during the court proceedings. And that's what I keep going back to. So anyway, back to the sex, child. Close your eyes and imagine Dr. Anna in the office with Derek. She lays out a mat. She lays out some type of pillow to prop him up. She takes unravels his diaper, takes it off. Let's be even more real. If he has on a diaper, there's likely something in it. So the fact that you put this man on the floor, lay him down, put something under his body to help prop him up, unleash his diaper, open that diaper up, potentially see something in there, wipe him, get him clean and ready, have him lay there and have sex with him. And mind you, the mobility in Derek's hands were very, very limited. That's the part that gets very blurry for me. Very, very blurry for me. So yeah, that's a lot. That's a bit much. One could argue that that's real love, because I go back to my beginning points. You know, if in her mind she's seeing something, we're seeing a pissy ass, shitty ass diaper on the ground. Maybe she's seeing something else, obviously. Because they also had sex in the mama's house. She claims that Derek told her to take her clothes off. She claims that Derek told her that he wanted to feel her breasts. She claims that Derek told her that she was beautiful than any porn star that he had seen. That was weird. Because when was he watching porn? I don't know. This is all over the place, because this was all over the place, and my views and my opinions were all over the place. Because at one moment I'd be like, she loved that man. Then on the second moment I'd be like, she's delusional. Now back to the court proceedings. At the end, before she's sentenced and in court, y'all, this shirt is too big for me, and these straps are falling off. Anyway, at the court proceedings, right when I was like, it's not right, she loves him, then her husband, because mind you, Dr. Anna was married to another black man, and she had 2 kids with this black man. And basically she cheated on her husband with Derek, which leads me to another thing. And this is where I go back to, is she delusional? Because and listen, they don't go into detail about, you know, her and her husband's marriage. She just said that they didn't have the best marriage. But your marriage got to be full of shit. No pun intended. Your marriage has to be horrible for you to find solace in someone that's nonverbal, can barely walk, arms ain't functioning. Like, it got to be really bad. In the court proceedings, the husband wrote a letter to the judge and basically said that Dr. Anna was a narcissist, a manipulator, and that she would tell the court anything, lie to get her way. And when the husband said that, I said, damn. That was very incriminating for me, because it's like, I understand that the husband could be mad at the fact that, you know, she cheated on him, right? But it has to be really bad for you to prefer her to be away from her kids, locked in the jail, under the jail possibly, versus trying to help her. For the husband to call her a narcissist and even to go as far as to write a letter to the judge. I want to know more about the husband. I want to know more about that dynamic. I want to know more about how they met. I want to know more about how long they were married. I want to know more about the dynamics of their marriage and their relationship. Because one thing I do feel like as well is that Dr. Anna gave me almost a fetishy feeling when it comes to Black people. She was a ethics professor, and she focused a lot on people with disabilities and minorities, and something about her gave me obsessed with the Black community, obsessed with I don't know, I feel like she was like kind of fetishizing Black people, if that makes sense. Ultimately, Dr. Anna, as I said, she got convicted and then appealed. I think she served a couple of years. And because they did not use the facilitated communicator in the court proceedings, they were able to get her out and she was no longer in prison. I'm really conflicted on this. One of the other things that I thought was so odd was the mom. I'm trying to tell y'all, I wonder if people are looking at this mama the way I am. At the end of the documentary, the mom kind of referenced how now Derek has this itch that he can't scratch. And basically now he masturbates. Like, she said it horribly. Now he masturbates. Like, Derek is almost 40 years old at this point. And the way she said that her son is attempting to masturbate and that made her so angry, that was weird to me. Like, he's a man. He's not a baby. He's a man. And it goes back to what I'm saying is that I feel like the mom wanted to keep him a baby, probably for the check and for just something to do, The mom also intentionally, in my opinion, allegedly, during the court proceedings, I feel like she wanted to make Derek look as baby as possible. Because if you look at that cerebral palsy video from this other guy who has cerebral palsy, very much similar to Derek, he has assistants walking with like crutches. And so that further makes me feel like this mom wants to keep him a baby. This mom doesn't want him to have any type of independence, because then what is she going to do? Then who is she going to have to look after? I think one of the biggest things in this documentary for me was the mom. It was truly the mom. So where's Anna now? In 2015, Stubberfield was found guilty on 2 counts of first-degree aggravated sexual assault and sentenced to 12 years in prison. In 2017, the former professor's appeal was granted and her conviction revoked. On a technicality, in her initial trial, the court dismissed testimony related to facilitated communication. Stubfield accepted a plea deal for a lesser charge and was released from prison after serving 2 years. Having been suspended from Rutgers Newark before the arrest for allegations of improper conduct with Derek Johnson, she obtained a job as a restaurant server upon her release. Within a year, she was let go from that position due to the publicity surrounding the plea bargain. Now, another thing to call out, and I need to fact check this, but I was told that the family ended up getting a huge settlement amount. And I hate to be the person that's going to say, oh, they wanted that check. But we all know those people. We all know somebody who is getting that disability check who ain't supposed to be. Or, someone lives with somebody and they get a check and they don't want to lose that check. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's what is truly given. I'm looking at Anna Stubfield's husband that she cheated on, and this is very interesting, actually. I'm gonna have to insert this picture. Wow. Anna's ex-husband, a renowned tuba player, Roger Stubbsfield was entangled in the scandal and its legal aftermath. During their marriage, Anna achieved a 10-year blah, 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 blah. Looks like following his divorce, Roger remarried Kimberly Boyler, who serves as the senior director for the science affairs at American blah, blah, blah. And see, again, this is where I'm bouncing back and forth because I feel like looking at her husband, a tuba player, she mentioned in the documentary how she loves the nerdy men. Like she loves having the intellectual conversation. And she claimed that her and Derek really bonded over having intellectual conversation and her kind of being the nerd and enjoying the conversation that Derek provided her. Oof. It's sad. My opinions are left, right, middle, up, down. Let me know what your thoughts are. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you order your Nama products. Let me know what you think. Do you think that Dr. Anna was just a woman who fell in love with a man and that's what it was? Or do you think that Dr. Anna was a delusional psychopath who was some type of sick, perverted, diaper-loving, black man-loving doctor? I don't know. Let me know your comments below and I will see you in the next episode.